Hey guys, what's going on? Rick with Rick's Toy Room. It's been a while since we did a video. I had one recorded for a opening of I think it was the Euro Trip, or the Euro Fast Premiums from Hot Wheels, and honestly, it was a really boring video. There wasn't anything special in the case. No chase car, so I was like, I don't really want to publish this video. So I decided today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Let's talk about my newest acquisition in the arcade games, as well as I want to talk about a charity event that's happening at the end of this month that I actually really like to support. I do a lot for, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then there's puppies. So arcade games. We don't talk about these a lot on this channel, even though I should, because for the longest time I've been collecting arcades, arcade games, arcade boards, control panel overlays, the marquees, all of that. At one point, I had early on in this channel, before it was actually the Rick's Toy Room channel, it was the Drunken Arcade and just my own personal Rick Kindle channel. But I had like 35 arcade machines inside my house. So the old house that I had in Riverview was a 4-bedroom, and the way I had it set up was the very front bedroom had all of my vintage arcade games. It had a Donkey Kong Jr. that was running on a Pi. It had a Donkey Kong Jr. There was like 2 other vintage games in there. I can't even remember what they were now. An old 100 CD jukebox, Star Spangled 7 slot machine, and then I had all like my Super Nintendo, my Nintendo 64, like all stored in that room, and the dartboard. Then the opposite room of that had was completely filled with all my really fun, my favorite 90s games. So NBA Jam, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Revolution X, I had 2 of those, Terminator 2, like multiple versions of Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior, Street Fighter Hyper Fighting, Street Fighter the movie, Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2. It was in a splitter, NBA Jam. And then in the kitchen I had 2 Cruisin' USAs that were connected with hacked ROM chips that allowed me to bypass the security to do the linking. 2 Hydro Thunders. Like, I had a ton of arcade machines back in the day. Then at one point I decided, you know what, I'm going to get rid of them. So I liquidated the house. I had someone that was opening up arcade, found me on Facebook Marketplace. I was talking about selling everything. She showed up with her mom and her boyfriend and was like, hey, we're opening up arcade. We want to buy everything. So I liquidated everything to her, except for my very first arcade machine, which was a Street Fighter 2 inside what is believed to be an Atari Joust cabinet. The cabinet was converted to a Street Fighter 2 somewhere in the mid-90s, because that's what arcade operators did, right? They got rid of the old junk boards and they put in something that would bring them a lot of money, an operator. And I never converted it back. So kind of being a arcade purist, like I always love to have my dedicated Capcom cabinets. I like having the official Mortal Kombat cabinets, official Konami cabinets. This one I never converted back to a Joust. For a couple reasons. One, I don't really like Joust. I didn't want to put the money and effort into buying an original Joust board, rebuilding the machine, redoing the control panel. I didn't want to restore it. And also, again, because it was like the first arcade machine I ever bought. So the story on that basically was I worked for Nextel in Jackson, Michigan, and I was making very little money. Well, in today's standards, it was very little money. At the time, I was rich. I saw it on eBay. It was going for like $125. It was a few hours away from the house at the time where we were living in. And I wanted to buy it. I bid on it. I convinced my wife at the time that, hey, look, we can afford this. Like, this is really cool. It's Street Fighter 2. And I was at work. I wasn't able to monitor the auction because, Blackberries were just starting to come out. Like, you couldn't do things mobilely. She texted me while I was at work and was like, well, how bad do you want it? I'm like, well, I really want it, but I mean, if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. About an hour later, I got another text message from her saying that we won the auction. We had to go pick it up and paid like $175 for the full cabinet, the board, everything. So we went, got a U-Haul, we went and picked it up. I mean, all said and done, I think this thing cost me maybe $275 to buy. Fast forward nowadays, you can't touch a working JAMA board. Now, what a JAMA board is the consider it the cartridge of an arcade machine. So mid 90s, the arcades basically switched from custom proprietary boards to what's called JAMA. It was a standard that basically had a defined set of pinouts for player 1 start button, player 2 start button, coin in, player 1, coin in, player 2, action button, player 1, player 2, up, down, left, right, player 1, player 2. Like, they completely standardized the controls. So you would take this one connector, unplug it, put another game in, plug it in, and all the common controls worked flawlessly. So it made for a very easy conversion for arcade operators to switch games to stuff more popular and to keep money coming in. So again, so you could buy these JAMA boards. Now, Street Fighter is a JAMA board, and you could take it, unplug the connector for a machine, plug this in, and it works. But again, JAMA boards now, you can't touch a good board for under $300-400 for the board. I mean, I used to buy machines for $200. So it's completely crazy to me how the price of arcades have gone through the roof over the years. But needless to say, so I sold all the games, and you heard me earlier emphasize Street Fighter the movie is a game that I used to own. So Street Fighter the movie was a licensed Street Fighter game. It was one of the only Street Fighter games ever made that was not produced by Capcom. Capcom headquarters and global HQ in Japan kind of basically said, we don't want anything to do with the game. They saw it, they weren't really impressed with it, it didn't really fit their style, didn't fit Street Fighter and Capcom, but they let Capcom USA move forward with the licensing of it and producing it. So they hired a company called, what are they called? Incredible Technologies. They let a company called Incredible Technologies do a Street Fighter game based on the Street Fighter movie of the 90s of the same name. And the game basically followed a standard 1v1 fighting game. You could do the arcade mode, which was human versus player. Supposedly it's got a story mode. I didn't see that in the game menu. I've got to go back. Maybe that's one of the dip switch settings. I got to find the manual. And then, of course, it had PvP. But it was one of the few games that actually was set up for Street Fighter where Akuma wasn't a playable character directly. It also digitized Jean-Claude Van Damme. It digitized Mi Wang as Chun-Li. It digitized Raul Julia as M. Bison. And all the actual movie actors were digitized into the game. And it was kind of designed to compete with, at the time, Atari Pit Fighter, which used digitalized real humans, compete with Mortal Kombat to say, hey, look, we have the real humans that played these characters as the fighters. And they had all the special moves and all the same controls as the original Street Fighter movies, or Street Fighter games. But this game, for the most part, is, I would say, almost fairly rare. Not a lot of people liked it. It didn't have like a great... The design of it wasn't phenomenal. Like, it didn't flow super well. Like, the hitboxes seemed a little off. But it's still part of the franchise. And more importantly, like I said, it digitalized Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile in Street Fighter. I mean, that character was basically built for Jean-Claude Van Damme anyhow. So, really, a really fun game. So, I originally owned it. I had a dedicated cabinet for it. I forget how I came about it. I bought it in a lot. So I bought like 3 arcade games one day, and it was part of the lot. It didn't work. Needed some work on the monitor. I had paid a guy to help me fix it. So we fixed the monitor, fixed the control panel. The board worked great. And I loved that game. I had the marquee for it, all the things. I sold the game, but I kept the marquee. I originally kept the board and the marquee out when I sold the lot. Then things happened. I sold the board, made a few $100 on it. And ever since, I've kicked myself in the ass because I'm like, I really liked this game. I mean, it was a rare Street Fighter game, and it was really a cool piece to have in my collection. So I set up an eBay alert not too long ago, and shockingly enough, it popped 2 days ago and was like, hey, there's one for sale. Little pricey. I mean, it went up for $550. I did not pay $550. I was able to negotiate the seller down. The board had a problem with the dip switch on it, so he kind of hacked in some wires to fix it. I'm going to have a buddy of mine repair that properly so it looks better. but I just got it in the mail this morning. I just dropped it in the my Street Fighter 2 Joust cabinet. Played through the first like 4 or 5 levels as Jean-Claude Van Damme and his Ryu. It's everything that I remember. It's everything that it should be. So I'm glad to have the game back in my collection. I'm going to try to find a empty cabinet with no board but a working monitor here shortly, and I'm going to put it back in a dedicated cabinet, and I will have my Street Fighter 2 World Warrior / Championship Edition / Hyper Fighting plus my Street Fighter the movie. Street Fighter's always been my game. Like, I love Mortal Kombat. You guys heard me talk about the Mortal Kombat actors and getting the signed marquees. And I love Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter's always going to be my game. So I'll work on doing that. So that's it for the arcade updates. Charity-wise, so I mentioned this when I opened the video. I support a charity called A Hope to Dream. So A Hope to Dream is a charity that's been running for the last 15 years. They came out of a company, Ashley Furniture, and what Hope to Dream does essentially is they donate beds to children in need. So families who have, a really small house, don't have enough beds for the kids, or children are being fostered, or there's many different ways that people get nominated for this program. But essentially, again, like I said, what it is a charity that takes in donation money, does special events, and throughout the year they will hold events in cities and donate beds to children. I think right now there are well over 18,000 beds donated in the last 15 years. They've been a phenomenal charity. I've gone to and supported 4 of the events locally now, and I'm going to my 5th one this November. I remember one of my first years with Ashley Furniture, we rebuilt their website. We created a whole new website to allow, what stores support Hope to Dream in the area in the continental U.S. and Canada. We updated the donation page, the media pages. So we did this whole rebuild. We got invited to the event, and it was really cool to see all of the children in Tampa that were selected and got beds donated to them. They always throw these events where they bring the children and their families in. It's like 3 or 4 hours. They have a breakfast for them. They do, or a lunch, depending on what time we do the events. They normally have some celebrities that come and, take photos with the children. So a lot of times it's Tampa Bay Bucks players or the Tampa Bay Rays, Lightning, someone, they take photos with the kids. Every kid gets a little kind of bed in a bag. So it's got a little teddy bear. It's got a storybook. It's got the sheets. It's got the bed. Just a really, really great charity. And one of the few that, because I've worked so closely with them and I've seen the numbers, I know that this charity puts its money into the children. This nonprofit doesn't like siphon off the top half of all the profits to the board of directors. They don't take any money for this. The only money used for the nonprofit that does not go into the purchasing of the beds and the events for the children literally go into just pure operational cost of doing the promotions, paying for the marketing. There is no money taken by the leadership of this group, and it is phenomenal. I mean, again, this is a great charity. I've seen the back end. I know how well this is. I know how much good this charity does. So I'm going to put a link into the description of this video, as well as a quick photo of this year's event, Swing for Sleep. The event is going to be November 1st. It is a private invite-only event. However, I do have some seats available. If you are in the Tampa Bay or St. Pete area, you would like to join the event, come place some bids, place some donations for the children. They're having Sterling, what is his name? Sterling, let me find it. Sterling Shepard from the Tampa Bay Bucks and his girlfriend Carolyn, who apparently is a big influencer out there today. They're actually going to be attending the event, and they're going to help with some of the auction. They may be hitting some balls in the golf. So that's going to be really cool. Like I said, he's going to be there. There's a lot of items up to bid on. And again, it's all tax deductible because it's all for charity. So if you've got the ability to bid on something fun, I mean, there's a signed photo of John Travolta up there. Bucks jersey, a Bucks helmet, some really nice jewelry from IDC, some trips. If you can't donate or you can't bid on one of those items, there's a direct donate link. Just throw them a couple bucks. $25, $50, like a little something. And that's all I ask. I mean, help us all out. I've already donated quite a bit this year, as well as what I'm going to end up doing for the event November 1st. So if you get a chance to do so, great. If you don't, maybe next year. All right, guys, with that, it's been fun. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, follow, and I should have a bunch more Hot Wheels coming in next week. Pop Culture and the next case, which I think is N or P. I forget. But bunch more Hot Wheels coming in next week, so watch for those unboxings. And I've got some new comic books coming this week, too. Finally are back. We're going to do a surprise unboxing because I didn't look at the grades, and I cannot wait to see what this book rated. So, all right, guys, we will see you next week at a minimum. Later.